How's it going, everybody? Sergio here from Penchetta, and I have a super special guest today. One of my idols in the knife business, who runs one of the best knife companies, in my personal opinion, Tim Reeve of Chris Reeve Knives.
Yeah, nice to have you here.
Thank you so much for taking the time. You gave me a little bit of a shop tour. Got to meet the shop dog. Adorable. But just kind of wanted to pick your brain and maybe ask a few questions. So, I'm sure you probably get it a lot, but you know how sometimes people say, oh, you never have a favorite kid?
Sure, yeah.
Do you have a favorite model that Chris Reeve Knives makes?
Yeah, you nailed it perfect, you framed it perfectly. It is really hard to pick a favorite because, like, when I look at the catalog, it's a lot of dimension, I guess, when I look at it, because there's like weird history and nostalgia, and whether it's I had a part of it or it's became before me and I always loved it or whatever. And you kind of do go through phases of your life where you're like, I need large Sebenzas, like all I can, right? So I carried a large blade for a long time because growing up, my dad always had a large plain Sebenza in his pocket, and I thought, that is part of becoming a man,
yeah,
right? And then for the last like 2 years, I've been carrying a small plain Sebenza.
Okay.
So this is really like my go-to knife, what I absolutely love. But we were talking about the Unumzon a lot today. I love that knife. Harpoon drop points are like one of the coolest things ever.
That's crazy that we bring that up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's like, that's kind of crazy. Huh.
Exactly. You know, the Inkosi I've got a lot of love for because of the features that it has in it. And when I came kind of back into the company 11-ish years ago was when we were diving into very much as the era of like the Inkosi coming out and all that. So I was very much involved with that knife. So there's a certain love with that. The Impinda, our little slip joint, that was the first knife that I played a role in helping bring to market. So Harsey and I spending a lot of time together working out the design, working out the manufacturing of that and all that. So the Imnundi was one of my knives I carried as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
When I used to cut like grip tape on skateboards with mine and stuff like that.
Wow.
So
picture using an Imnundi. Was there an inlay in it?
Yeah, it was a Tambuti inlay.
That's awesome.
It's one of my favorite woods, an African hardwood. It's actually toxic. It's if you burn it, it's toxic.
Oh,
but so they would use them as fence posts in South Africa because the ants and the what's the things called, the eat wood, little bugs. Termites wouldn't eat it because it's toxic. So anyway, that's so like each knife kind of has its different meaning or what have you to me, and that's I guess probably a similar concept for everybody that interacts with the brand. Mine is my crazy little journey of growing up in this company and eating titanium chips off the floor. And like, the Sebenza blade, like drop point blade's been around longer than I've been alive.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when it comes down to it, the small plane is really the knife that I love.
Kind of evolved to that where you are in your life
right
now.
And the first Chris Reeve knife I got was a small plain regular.
Okay.
With my name on the back. Like I was finally old enough. I think I turned 11. And my name, my folks engraved my name and like my birth date of that year on there. So maybe it's like the full circle thing. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love that. That was the first gift. My first knife gift was a Chinese knockoff of a Swiss Army knife that I lost within 48 hours of owning it.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And what's funny is it wasn't actually my first knife. They wouldn't let me have one of our knives until I kind of came of age, which I love. Looking back, I loved it. So I had all sorts of like little like different knives. My dad would go to these knife shows and he'd always try and bring something back. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was whether it was like the Biscoff cookies on the airplane or like a little, I don't know, I have like a knife that's looks like a shotgun shell. The blade comes out. I've got like you try and pick up a little something, a little goofy something, and just have something back. Bring something back for his kiddo.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
So speaking of your dad, do you have like your favorite memories of a little kid just hanging around the shop? Just like if you have a favorite memory or just one that sticks out in your head, of just having your dad around in the shop?
Yeah, growing up. I mean, like all these memories really kind of mushed together. But I do have there's a lot of different memories. I guess the one that comes up right now, and I wasn't, I guess, really little. I was kind of maybe preteen, early teenager. It was back when we were just in that building. We got this little tiny milling machine called a Robo-Drill, which now is gone, but we have a different version. Long story short, we got it in, it was used, because like we couldn't afford new machines at the time, and so it was used. And it was just like, it had said that there was very little spindle time, and like it was a very clean machine to get it. It's just like caked with oil on the inside. I'm literally like gummified like oil. And so my dad grabs me and it was like summertime, I'm not at school and everything, so I'm kind of working in the shop, he takes me and like the lowest dude on the totem pole at that time. There's always like somebody that's the lowest, you know, that does a lot of the janitorial job.
The new
Whatever. There's always the new guy, you know, from Bobby or whatever. And so he grabs this guy and he hands both of us each a bottle of lacquer thinner or denatured alcohol or something like that, and a toothbrush. And he's like, hey, we gotta clean the machine. And he goes, but he looks at me, he goes, or he looks at the other dude, I can't remember his name. He goes, you're not allowed inside that machine. Points at me, he goes, you better get inside there and start cleaning it. Like, you stand on the table. And he said, mumbled something about, like, I can't have a workman's comp plan. Or like, child labor's fine. You know?
Obviously,
like,
you know.
So I spent like this entire day, they took the roof off the machine, so I could stand on the pallet, and then like, if I stood up, my head just barely popped out of the machine. And so like, replacing all like the cracked like plastic of the roof and everything. And I'm inside there, standing there, just like spraying alcohol or paint or whatever it was, like this degreaser, and then like scraping stuff off and hold my breath, and I come back up for air and come back down because I think I lost a couple brain cells.
I know,
At some
start
point I'd have
tasting
like
colors and stuff.
totally, I'd have to go like step outside the shop and like go breathe and stuff. So you know, there's a lot of like fun memories like that. You know, even at the time I wasn't like very upset about it, but I look back and I laugh so hard.
Yeah.
My dad he's a total character and like, you know, very hard man, but what a great guy. And he taught me a lot, you know. But there's the memory.
Yeah. And the journey of where you are now, when the position you have in the company, was there ever a time where you maybe didn't want to join here? Or did you want to be a doctor? Like, what was Tim Reeve's path before ultimately landing here? Yeah, so like from the top, I always joked, like when I was born, my mom filled out my I-9 and like filed my W-2s and stuff. And I've been working for the company my whole life. Because like definitely young age, it'd be summers or so my parents came from South Africa. They had year-round school, so they came to the United States, have a kid, and they're like, "What do I do with them for 3 months?" You know, like the longest they would have is 3 weeks, and you just do vacation then, right? So 3 months they got like, so I would end up doing like some like, you know, school program, like whatever, like summer programs or what have you. But I spent most all my summers like in the shop, just every day showing up to the shop and like causing trouble. Then move into like becoming a teenager and getting my, you know, I started actually working officially when I was 15. Various like jobs around here. I worked at the mall. I worked at like Zoomies and Journeys and Van Store. Love
it.
I
was a mall rat for like 8 years, and then ended up going to Guitar Center for like 1.5 years and worked there. Music's like a side of my previous lives before. So I spent about 8 years like in my late teens, early 20s, kind of trying to stay as far away from this place as I could. Right? I grew up in it. Dinner, we always had like family dinner, just like 3 of us, my mom, my dad, and myself. And I didn't know it in the wiser. It's not that I look back and didn't like it, but like business always ended up at the dinner table too. Like it's just that ingrained in our life. We built a company. It's a family-run company. So I wouldn't really want it any other way. But that's what it was. And so I greener grass and all that kind of new pastures, whatever have you. Did all that, and very much got sick of like the corporate sales world, having to go and be a salesperson day in and day out. Like I definitely have the personality for it, but I just got very worn down on that. So I tip my hat to anybody that does choose to show up to a place where they talk to a random stranger every single day, that, you know, at customer facing. I get to do that much more picky choosy these days. You know, it's like folks that you come into the shop, or like we go to the shows, and then like we kind of turn it on and do that. So really got burned out on the retail world. And I like to say I finally read the writing that was always on the wall, and came back to the company and just dove in. So that was 11 years ago that I came back in, and then just kind of taking over different places. And kind of my role here is like when we have a new zone or a new area of the company that we need to grow and dive into and develop, I'll just dive into that and kind of grow it. You think of like battle maps. It's like, you know, like the front is, or it's like, well, we got to take over this area. So like I'm the guy that goes in there and kind of takes over that area and then tries to stand it up and pass it off to other people.
Cool.
So wear a lot of hats, but no, man, I wanted to be a photographer years ago. I wanted to be a musician. Spent a lot of time in like the recording world and like that kind of stuff. I don't like to get on stages and perform for people. It's really like not my forte. But sitting in a studio with like rack units and compressors and preamps and like messing around with microphones and all that, like that's my like joy. Right? And I actually have a music studio at home where I do all that kind of stuff when I can. So, oh yeah, I come from like the artist type personality, if you will, or what have you. And so I think a place like this works really well for me, where it's very like a big machine shop is very much linear. If you've got like creative and linear types, like there's two types of people in life, right? People that divide people into two types of people and people that don't. It's a bad joke. I stole from somebody else. But no, I was like, if we were just simply going to put it with a broad brush, like creative and linear. I think it's very much a linear world, right? For the most part. But then with what our endeavor, as opposed to just being like a machine shop that does random widgets, like a machine shop for hire, which I know a lot of them here. It's like, hey, I need this made. Can you make it? And they quote it and they make it. It could be a fuel cell for a Tomahawk missile, or it could be like a fuel pump widget, right? We have this endeavor that is Chris Reeve Knives. Like there's this creative, there's an art, there's a style, there's this thing that makes a singularity point that then wraps this machine shop into it. And so I think the linear side of it helps me stay out of trouble for the most part, or like whatever, like guide me through life. But then I'm forever like I always have something to taste and chew on, because like there's always something like that scratches that creative itch, that pursuit and what happens. And there's a bunch of aspects of the company.
Even you just showing me around and walking me through everything. Fun fact about Sergio time, I also have a background in music and in theater and stuff like that. So just seeing just like the different processes of like, it almost has like a dance to it of like, okay, you got to do these steps first, and then you move to this spot in the blocking, and then you have this song in the set list or something like that. So it was really cool seeing that, and I feel like you guys have really got that down in such a way that it's really cool to just watch, and just standing over people's shoulders. I hope I wasn't breathing too hard on anybody. I had so much fun just watching everything go into it.
I'm a huge fan and like lover of methods, right? Like this comes before that and that, and then if you change these things, you get a different result. Like I've always loved that, and so I'm just seeped in it now. So when you see like what appear to be perfected methods, it's really just like hitting our head against steel plates until like we finally get things to work. So it's really just our special sauce is just seat time and like keep trying. Like we have 40 years of doing this, and so it seems like we're reinventing how to make products we've made for a long time all the time. It always cracks me up when you're like, dude, we've been making this knife for 15 years, and like today we don't know how to make it. What are we doing?
Find something new. It's about this one thing that we have been making. So a lot of people have kind of categorized Chris Reeve as, back in the day, part of the Holy Trinity of knives.
The old Holy Trinity. Right?
Reeve, Hinderer, and Strider. I prescribe to that. It's just like some of my favorite knife brands ever. Of the three, Chris Reeve has always been my favorite. But are there any brands nowadays that you're seeing like, okay, yeah, these guys are making waves, like not necessarily like, oh, this is the new, quote, Holy Trinity of knife making?
Right. Yeah, I loved you've been in knives for a long time if you know about that paradigm, right? And it's like, on one hand, I kind of look back a little lovingly to it, and then I'm kind of glad that we're moving past that paradigm. It's like, it was almost like personality. It was so funny, man. It's so funny. And like, we're all friends. You have like these guys on flayed forms, like at each other's throats.
They may or may not come into the store every now and then, but
and then like we go to the show and it's like you see Rick. It's like, hey, how's it going? I'm like Mick. I've actually only ever talked to him very infrequently. And Mick and my dad were never like very close at all. But Dwyer, like, dude, they go way back. Like I see Dwayne at the shows all the time. He like his big hug and all that, and he always tells me stories about talking to my old man. Like when Dwayne went to go buy his first CNC mill, I think it was early 90s, he called my dad. He's like, okay, of all the people that I know, Chris knows. What should I buy? So he calls Chris. He's like, hey, I'm looking to buy a mill. What should I get? He's like, okay, go get this, right? So there's like all these old friendships. So a cool little fact here on the Hinderer side, that overstop disc, right? The lock bar stabilizer. There's 50 fucking names for it. Chris had come up with that, like wanting to utilize a feature in that function, and came with the idea and saw it like inspired from Rick. Called Rick, said, hey, I'm looking at doing this. This is like, I don't know if he showed him drawings or whatever. It's like, hey, are you okay if I go do that? I know that's something that you do. He goes, oh yeah, Chris, go for it. So there's always been like this. What's funny behind the scenes is like there's a lot of friendship in the industry, and then like you get these online like battles. So it always cracks me. Anyway, this long-winded way of saying like it seems like we're kind of past the Holy Trinity paradigm, and maybe it's good. We're better for it. Over the last couple of years, I really been fortunate to develop a friendship with the guys at Shirogorov. They're making phenomenal knives, man.
Oh, yeah.
Sergei's design language is just so incredibly appealing. It's, especially in his customs, is very clever. I mean, every time I see something, I'm like, God dang it! Like, I wish I would have had that. Later. You know, like in that fun, like friend way. It's like, oh, you know, I'm so proud of him and so thankful that he's doing it. But then you're like, you have this like friend jealousy of like, God, I wish I would have done that. You know, Dmitry Sinkovich is the same thing, and you know, they're very, very close and very tight. And so it's been fun getting to know them. And I mean, Dmitry, I think, is probably, if not the one of the best designers in the industry right now. Like he is just top of his game. He's got such a very good fingerprint for his style, but it's also like very versatile. Like he's done some with ProTech and kind of around a bit, but obviously like what him and like Sergey have come up with are amazing. So I'm massively influenced or like love those guys. I was telling you earlier, Bill Koenig and I are very good friends. He's just down the road. He's probably one of my closest friends in my life. You know what that guy's doing is just amazing. Like he talked about working hard. Like that is elbow grease and like hate and discontent that gets that like him
just
like,
pushing through.
Yeah, amazing what he's done. And then like, and it's funny because when we go to the shows, a lot of times, especially these days, it's like the guys from, it'd be like Sako from Recon 1 and the Shiro guys and Dimitri and like Koenigs and us, like we all like go out to dinner a lot. And so we've got this kind of friendship going there, which is really cool. I'm a huge fan of Lucas Burnley. Like one of the nicest guys.
Some of the coolest designs I've seen.
Dear friend as well. And like when we get together and start talking, it's 6 hours go by, like ADD bouncy ball type stuff. So we have this thing where like if I need to call him, I'll text him ahead of time. Be like, all right, I can call you about one thing. We're gonna set a timer for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and when the timer goes off, we're hanging up. Because otherwise, like we'll just ruin each other's day, right? In the best way possible. So yeah, no, I mean Lucas is he's got such a great eye for like brand and product and like how it all mashes together. It's like so well done. I don't know, there's just something about what he does speaks to me. I love his designs of the product and how he encompasses it with his brand and who he is and the Burnley brand and all that. Like he's just phenomenal. Like very, very well done. So anyway, maybe that's just a slew of people that I really like and look up to. Yeah.
But I love that, just like how you're saying, like you're friends with these individuals, you talk, you hang out and everything like that, because it can be pretty polarizing sometimes if all you're exposed to are the YouTube comments of people hating, no, they messed up this design, how dare you, mine can cut 10,000 times, well mine can cut 10,002 times. But just seeing and hearing and being more engrossed in the industry myself now, kind of stepping in from my outside standpoint, it is really cool seeing that you guys are just all friends and
that's how we like grow and learn things, is by talking with each other and like sharing things. That's how like a lot of the inspiration of development comes from in any party. It's because we share and like all this kind of stuff. We were talking about the holo grinding. It's like there's no secrets there. I will teach what I know to anybody that like asks and wants to know. And so like, you know, yeah, it's like probably the most specialized like craziest thing that we do is like grinding in a milling machine to make bevels, but I've got no secrets. You know? It's like I always kind of take the attack of like if you're like stupid enough to want to do this, like just show up and bring some beer and like let's hang out, you know, because join the party.
Noted.
So no, the knife industry is like very very friendly. So we go to SHOT Show, right? And I always laugh at the gun world because we know a bunch of the guys in the gun world, different companies and stuff, but it's like so cut and thrust. It's like everyone's sharp, like elbows and I'm like, why do you guys just make the same black guns with Picatinny rails? Like, what are you even protecting? Like, what, like, you know what I mean? I just always laugh. Like,
their firing pin is ground differently than every other firing pin, so no one can know about.
Yeah, and they're like fire velocity or whatever. Yeah. It's like the gun world is just so funny. It's like kind of adjacent to us, and we're all gun guys. We're like shooting and like all this kind of stuff and follow. But I love the knife industry. Just has a very different character to it. And it's much more friendly, much more collaborative and cooperative, and I think just like so unique in its way. It's like you walk in a blade show and it's just a big room of friends. I mean, of course, you put enough boys in a room, like somebody's not gonna like each other, right? But yeah, I go to blade show. It's just like it's seeing friends and family. That's what it is. So yeah, I love our industry, man.
So say you meet someone out in the wild and they've never owned a pocket knife. They've never even heard of a pocket knife.
Sure.
Maybe. What if they asked you, oh, well, what's Chris Reeve? Why do I care?
Yeah,
Like,
what's the thing?
yeah. What would that pitch be to them? Not necessarily a pitch, but
Sure,
like,
yeah.
explain
What's
it to them.
the shtick? Yeah. Don't worry, I've had to figure this out. I've been presented with this many times, right? Because like it's even like some of my very good friends don't really even understand like what this is. They're like, oh yeah, I guess he makes really nice knives.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really get it, or what have you. A lot of my neighbors, I live in a rural community. They're like, what's the deal? And then you're like, oh, it's like oh, I'd love to give one for my son. He just really got into knives. Oh, cool. Well, I can take an order and it'll be about like 4 years. And they're like, what? 4 years? And then you're like, yeah, and it's like about $500. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
You know. And so we're all versed with this. We're familiar with it. Whether it's pens, watches, whiskey, knives, guns. Like we're kind of versed in that. But the average person, yeah, you kind of got to walk in from somewhere, right? So you kind of qualify. You kind of ask some questions or whatever. But I think I bring up Benchmade a lot because almost everyone's heard of a Benchmade,
Yeah.
like buck knives, right?
Oh yeah.
Which I know folks from both parties, right, and both have their great role in the roles in the industry. But it's like everyone knows a buck knife, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
So you could be like, oh, you know, like Benchmade, well, we kind of make knives like that, but we're known for very high quality. So what have you? And then it kind of gives you a lead into like gets in the price point.
Yeah,
this crazy
yeah.
like lead time thing and stuff. So I don't know if I have a single like pitch or like way in, but that's kind of like what you have to navigate. So yeah, sometimes I use Benchmade as like a way to like make a marker because I still think like Benchmade makes some of the best like $200-300 pocket knives in playing. Like I'm not smart enough to figure out how to make $200-300 pocket knives. We also just have a different like tack of what we're trying to do. But yeah, it's I don't know. That may or may not answer that question.
So, I don't know how many people at this point in their lives own or have owned a Chris Reeve knife. Are there any crazy stories that anyone has ever told you? Like, oh, I was stuck in the Arctic and the Chris Reeve knife was there. Like, are there any crazy stories about someone using your knives that you've heard?
Yeah, over the years we've gotten all sorts of stories. Like we actually outfitted a crew that went like a photographer. It's kind of like a photo video crew that are also scientists that went into a volcano, like a semi-active volcano, and we kitted. It was like 4 or 5 guys. We kitted them out with some knives, so like wore them. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, we get like all sorts of random stories all the time. The one that I really love, it was so we make the Green Beret knife, and then the other version of it, the Yarborough knife, that's actually issued to the graduates of Q course, Special Forces Green Beret Q course. That's engraved with Yarborough and serial number and everything. And we get an email back from a soldier. It was back in GWAT era, kind of. I don't know, it's probably like early 2010s or probably like late aughts. And he sends a photo of the knife. I think it was a photo knife first. And he goes, and there's this like halfway through the blade, there's this like giant D-shaped chunk out of it, and what looks like an electrical arc that's probably like covers 3 inches, like just blown up. It's still like the rest of the knife's intact, like it hasn't broken in half, but there's just chunks out of it. He's like, hey, I used my knife to cut a live wire. Can you fix it? Or something? So we like did a whole, and we're like, oh my gosh, like holy cow! And we said, hey, look, that's not fixable, but we will make you a brand new one and get it to like speed rush it to you, right? Because he's still deploying all this. And so he sent the knife back to us, and we took the serial number and we made a replacement, and then like got it back to him. But and then we finally got the story from, because at first we were like, look, especially in the soft world, like those kind of guys, the special forces guys, like whatever you needed to do that made that happen must have been a very special circumstance, right? And like, so we'll take care of you for sure. Turns out they were doing a raid on a house, and the IT tech guys, this is years ago, I'm trying to retell this the best I can. IT tech dudes, and I was never military, so I'm bad at this like jargon. Dudes that were supposed to kill the power to the house failed and didn't happen.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So they're supposed to like lights out the house, pop through the front door, clear the house, do whatever, catch the bad guys, wrap them up, whatever. Well, the house doesn't go dark. So he runs out to the street and just chops it, like the main line in the house. And arcs, closes, and they said successful raid, did what they needed to do, got the whatever they needed to do. And everybody just looks at his knife, he's like, dang it, dude, I'll put it back. And all that. So that was a pretty good story of like real life stuff happening with that knife.
What ended up happening to the knife? Did he keep it? I would put it in a shadow block. Like, this is the knife that rode the lightning and survived, or something like that.
I feel like we either still have it, like it's like in my mom's collection, or we ended up sending it back to him as like as a shadow box type thing. One of the two things happened. Especially if we make a replacement like that, like especially with the Yarborough like serializations, it's like you only want one in circulation, so the other one kind of needs to be destroyed or whatever, what have you. Like even if we scrap them here and they're serialized, like we grind out the serialization before it goes in the scrap, stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel like it got preserved because it's too good of a story. I don't think it got scrapped, ground up and scrapped out. I want to say either my mom has it or we did end up sending it back. I'm not sure.
That's cool. Gotta check the
I have to
archives.
dig in. Yeah.
So, as I told you, and as many of you guys know, I deal with a lot of knives. I work at a knife store, but I also do all the sharpening and stuff like that, so I get to see a lot of blade steels. One of my favorite is CPM MagnaCut, and especially your guys' CPM MagnaCut. I love it. Everything that happened with Crucible.
Yeah.
Is that gonna affect? Are we looking for alternatives for MagnaCut for Chris Reeve knives, or do we just have another warehouse somewhere just stockpiled full of it, or
right?
What is like the future of that steel look like for Chris Reeve?
Sure. Yeah, no, I can definitely speak to that. So Crucible, we've known for a long time. I mean, the guys, I've known a lot of guys at Crucible since I was like a kid. Like they watched me grow up. We started working with them in 2001, 2. It was actually the stand up the Yarborough project is really what moved us into S30V at that time. And like Chris was looking for a better steel for the knife world and really pushed for S30V.
Which he had a lot of input, actually, was it?
Yeah, S30V, S35, and then it was post his retirement, and my mom and I were very much involved with pushing for 45, and then MagnaCut came along, and not that I was involved, we were involved in any way in the initial like pushing the chemistry around type side as we were kind of on the other three. I mean, that makes us sound really important. It's like not quite that. But we were involved, right? Okay. MagnaCut was much more, it was figured out by Dr. Laren Thomas. Dr. Laren Thomas. I always drop the doctor. Sorry, buddy. I love that guy. He's a really smart guy, really, really kind individual. My mom's known him since he was a kid, like growing up. Because his dad, Devin, used to make Damascus, still kind of makes some Damascus. We used to buy a lot of Damascus. He was the one actually working with my dad developed like stainless Damascus as we know it these days. And Devin was like working it, sending samples to Chris, and it kind of, so the old man got his fingers in all over the place. Anyway, long-winded way to say, like when MagnaCut came out, just before it debuted to the public, Bob Shabala, the president of Niagara Specialty Metals, gave me a call, and he's calling a couple of the handful of different knife makers like us in the industry that he's very, very close with, and we have a great relationship with Niagara Specialty Metals. So Niagara and Crucible were very much like tied together for a long time. Like 90% of what Niagara sold for a long time was all Crucible steel. And so they go away. Again, they've known me since I was a kid. Bob calls and he's like, hey, look, we've got this new steel. I'm not even sure if they had a name for it yet, maybe, or they're still developing it. Anyway, he says, I feel like we're standing on the edge of the precipice that was S30V when S30V came out. Wow. And when Bob Shabala comes and calls you and tells you that, shut up, you take the steel and you go play with it and test it. Like you don't just like, oh, I don't know, Bobby, but, you know, it's like, so, and I think he was very much right. Like when S30V came out, there was a big prolific, it's like a timeline marker in like blade steel history. Yeah. And MagnaCut made a very similar, and maybe it will still be some years before we can look back and measure the difference of impact between those two. But anyway, it's a timeline marker. So he like sent a sheet to us, and we got like 50 large drop points or something. We immediately started playing with it, and I loved it. It just kind of checked a lot of boxes for me. I have always hated the term super steel. Until like MagnaCut came out, you know, you've got the little triangle, right? You've got your toughness, edge retention, and corrosion resistance, and like when you start pulling on one or two corners, you lose out on the other. I feel like for the first time we had a steel that Laren pulled on all four corners, and that you could actually grow them without sacrificing. Now there's still, we can get in the weeds of that, and you couldn't pull it as much maybe in some areas. Like what is arguably slightly left to be desired is a little extra edge retention in MagnaCut, compared to the ratio of like massive boost of toughness corrosion resistance. But the amount of you got out of those two categories, you still got an increase of edge retention. It just wasn't like, it didn't compete or doesn't compete quite where like M390 or something like that. S90V, 20CVs, those kind of steels, which definitely like in this, for this last 10-year era or whatever, are very much in vogue, especially for folders, and I totally understand the case. I don't need this to pry open a door necessarily, but I would love for it to cut as long as possible. Now, a big military knife, different paradigm, right? Like you're going, okay, I may have to pry open a door, cut a live wire, whatever. Yes, I want it to cut as long as possible, but if I have to sacrifice a little bit on edge retention and really gain in these other categories, like obviously I'm going to pick that for that kind of use case. We've talked a lot about use case for decisions today. So anyway, that's like the thing with MagnaCut. You tell I'm long-winded. Future of MagnaCut. So real shame that Crucible had to wrap up. They're the oldest steel mill in America and are older than this country. So yeah, they go back a long time. So it's a real shame that like their day technically had to end, if you will. And I'm still not exactly sure the machinations right now. So at the end of the day, Era Steel came from Europe, came and bought Crucible. And it sounds like they're still running, essentially. And I don't know what their future plans with Crucible is going to be. I don't know if they're going to run out the rest of their orders and then fold it up, or if they're going to put more money into it. I'm not exactly sure. It's all kind of, it's been a lot of chatter and some people that are in the know and aren't in the know, and I'm like half in the know. So anyway, long story short, Bob Shabala and Niagara Specialty Metals like single-handedly saved the knife industry over the last 2 years. I think Bob kind of saw the writing on the wall with Crucible coming, started diversifying the materials that they're holding, who they're buying from. So as opposed to having that like 90% kind of Crucible steel, started kind of blending out a little bit, and then ended up. I've been involved in the stories and been told all this, but I can't remember all the machinations. But essentially, like Era got involved and bought Crucible, and are making MagnaCut at the grade MagnaCut as is. Okay. I believe that Crucible trademarked the recipe for both MagnaCut and I think CPM 154CM. And so that's why it's still called CPM MagnaCut, because CPM stands for Crucible Powdered Metal. So that's why it's still called CPM MagnaCut. Era's making the steel. They went through a couple of test batches. They were working with us and other manufacturers, like, hey, does this feel like the same MagnaCut? Like, is it all above board and everything? And honestly, at the end of the day, what Era is proving to have tweaked it and refined it and kind of like maybe tightened up the quality just even a little bit better. So, and that's no knock to Crucible. It's just it was kind of we knew that as a standard from Crucible, and it sounds like Era has actually kicked it up a notch. The mill for Era steel is up in Sweden. Okay. Sweden's been making steel for a long time. Like they know what they're doing. And I've met one of the metallurgists over there and one of the sales guys who's just been starting to get to know them. They've been coming out to the blade shows and stuff, and just a stand-up outfit, you know. So I think they've got like a headquartered in Paris and then like via Belgium, and I still got to get my story straight with Era, unfortunately. Yeah. So the question trying to be answered here is the future of MagnaCut is very stable and continuing to go. It's just made overseas. Now, obviously with tariffs and everything was just terrible timing. It's like, you know, roll the bones of life and things just land wrong, right? So that was one of the bummers. We did start having to pay a tariff on international steel coming in, but whatever, it is what it is. So yeah, I can't blame Trump for like Crucible going under. You know, it's like timing is just timing, right? Anyway, so yeah, look, as far as I know, the Crucible or MagnaCut will be made indefinitely going forward, and we're going to continue to use that steel made by Era for the foreseeable future until there's a reason to change. We have a massive loyalty to Niagara Specialty Metals. Again, we've been friends for a very long time. I think they single-handedly saved the knife industry a couple of years ago. They're just incredibly good people. Their business is growing. They're investing in machinery, in personnel, just an absolute killer outfit, and supply most of the knife industry. And so I have a deep loyalty to them. and so I will probably forever buy my steel through them. And so it would have to be something like a steel comes out that checks my boxes, scratches my itch, and I can get through them. We also have this pipeline of them of rolling to thicknesses and Blanchard grinding and not Blanchard grinding and water jetting and lasering and this whole pipeline of that, so that
they fit into the dance that you guys have.
Yeah, and we've created that dance with them over many years, and like works really well. And I have on hand or in the pipeline out to like 6 to probably 18 months worth of material in any given category that's like in this flow. And so to just go stand that up with somebody else is like, whether I want to or not, like it's a big picture, right? So I think MagnaCut's gonna be stable, coming for a long time.
Cool. And I love how he said he called you and was like, no, this is big, this is something, and equating it to something like when S30V came out. Because fun fact, S30V was the first knife steel made exclusively for use for pocket knives and things and stuff like that.
For the cutlery industry.
So you love 20CV, you love Crewware, you have M4. A lot of these are tool steels that are used a lot for like dies and things and stuff like that. But to have one specifically made for the industry like this, I think that is kind of cool that he's like, no, this is something.
Yeah. And like, why is it then, like with that being said, then why didn't you could reasonably ask, okay, well then why is S35 like seem to be an aged steel? It's like kind of out of vogue or whatever, like right now, because everybody likes these like whatever. Well, the demands of the customer base and like the demands of what we're trying to get out of these things does shift and change over time. So it's still like it's a foundational steel. It's like a baseline. Like I'm not gonna say any knife made with S35 is a good knife. That's too broad. But it's like if you find a good knife and it's made in S35, you'd be like, all right, dude, we're fine, right? Like I personally don't really care what the blade steel is that I have in my personal knife. But when it comes to my product and we're sending out the door, I'm highly dialed into that.
One of the big things that if you ever want me to not shut up when you come into the store is start talking to me and ask me about knife steels and stuff like that. Because I couldn't tell you how many times I show someone a knife, they love how it feels in their hand, they love the design, they love it, they even put it in their pocket, they love it, and they see that it's not MagnaCut and they're like, ew, I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole, get it out of here. But it's S90V, it's CPM Crewware, it's
M4. Like good steels.
Yes, they're fantastic. So I don't know how many times I have to have the conversation like, this is what you look for in a blade steel. MagnaCut checks all these really good, but does it have the same toughness as Crewware? No. Does it have the same edge retention as 15V or S90V? No. Does it have the corrosion resistance of like H2 or something like that? So just prejudging something that, it's not MagnaCut, I think is kind of it's the quickest way to get me to not shut up.
No, totally. And thank you for like carrying that torch, because I find myself doing that too. Like there's been plenty of times where I've been at Blade Show or SHOT Show or whatever, and like I've been at the booth with MagnaCut and all my knives, and I'm sitting there like defending other blade steels because people are like, no. I mean, like I love MagnaCut. I use it for all these different reasons because it's a very balanced steel and stuff. But I'll be like, again, defending other blade steels because what do we keep coming back to? It's like use case and intended use, and like what is that knife for? So you're gonna base your decisions of blade steel, like the blade material, your blade geometry, your heat treat hardness, like all these things are based off of the intention. It's like the hardness thing is like a wild thing too, because there are these, you could filter down or distill down through a lot of debate what like the most optimal hardness zone is or range is for any given steel.
Especially MagnaCut.
Especially MagnaCut. I mean, we're finding that like that 63, 64, and even really into 65 is like a nice sweet spot for it. Some of the custom guys have like pushed it even higher than that and been in that like 65 and up, and there's a lot of merit to it. You do just watch that toughness start to come down. But again, does it come down enough that like it makes the knife just fold in it? Like no.
Yeah.
But anyway, so but it's like your hardness range is a based off of your intention as well. So a lot of guys get beat up online. I was just like on a thread on Instagram the other day. We were talking about like a guy was rock wall testing knives, and he was doing a great job and all this. But like comment section is always a dumpster fire, and I mean like, well, it's MagnaCut, it should be, or whatever steel it was, and it should be this. And it's like, well, I don't know. Like one of the guys asked the poster, was like, well, could you posted the hardness of what you tested? It was a variety of knives. Some hit that ideal zone, some don't. And the guy said, well, could you post like what the ideal, like what they should be? And that's when I jumped in and was like, well, actually maybe like the right thing isn't necessarily asking or posting what it should be, because that is left up for interpretation, right? Heat treating them in different ways can be left up to your intention. But really posting like what the manufacturer's advertised rock wall is. That would be maybe the right spot. Then the conversation could go to, but really this zone would be more ideal if you're looking for it. So anyway, that's just like a long-winded way of talking about hardness and that stuff. But no, thank you for like holding the torch of what happens when you have like a steel like MagnaCut, one that has a catchy name. Like it's hard. Like when we have these S35, VN, S45, it's all numbers. Like everything. Like you have something that was brilliant for Laren to actually market it, have a name that was marketable. It made a big splash, and it's just massively successful. It's awesome, and it's like been a positive thing in the industry. There's two sides to a coin. It's like the shadow that the rest of everything else gets left in because of the marketing impact. It's not like they had a marketing campaign necessarily. They had like cool pictures of like old school stuff, right? Yeah. That was the extent of the marketing campaign, like dollars that went into it. The rest of it's just like us all using it and pushing it. But yeah, it's funny you get a name brand thing and then there's like some sort of shadow that's created and other things end up there. Like so right now other steels are kind of in that shadow. And then it's funny with Magna Max coming out. Yeah. Like is that it's I don't know if it's gonna cast the same shadow that MagnaCut does and everything else, like over MagnaCut. I don't know, but that was Laren looking at and getting a lot of that feedback and tweaking essentially the MagnaCut recipe or tree branch of design is like very different than the S35, S30, 35, 45, 20 CV kind of like I call it tree branch of design of metallurgy. What was very unique about MagnaCut is very much a whole new limb of how you go about the chemistry and how it all goes together. And so it looks to me like Magna Max is another tree branch of design. It's a tweak on that, and it was him answering that like edge retention and kind of shifting it that way. So, look, we've tested some of it. It just keeps cutting. It's great steel. Is it going to replace MagnaCut? I don't know yet. I really don't know. Changing steels like throughout a shop is no easy feat. Very much is no easy feat, and there's a cost that can be attached to that. It's not like just clicking another button. So when you do it, you just got to make sure it's good. You know?
And I love bringing it up too. Use set. What are you using it for? Are you taking this out into the wilderness and using it to chop down a 10-inch diameter tree with? You maybe don't want something like MagnaCut. Maybe you want something like a 1095 that you could sharpen with a brick if you want, but it's not going to snap on.
Yeah,
something like that.
Or tools. You know, like that's where 3V, 4V really came in. Yeah, I mean, the argument would be do the folder line in Magna Max and like do the other military knives and the bigger knives, field knives, and MagnaCut. So, but for many reasons, and I won't go into all of them, like I like to have one steel in the shop and then like really use it, and find out where its limits are, and really kind of stretch it to use it. So,
cool. How's it going, everybody? Future Sergio here. Just wanted to say thank you guys so much. Sadly, the rest of the video from the interview with Tim Reeve kind of got lost somewhere in the cloud and ether, but I had so much fun hanging out there with Tim. Literally spent almost the whole day with him. He was showing me around. I was literally just a kid in a candy store just nerding out. I cannot express how much that meant to me as just a lifelong fan of Chris Reeve. So Tim, you're the best, man. But thank you guys so much for watching. What was your favorite question that was asked? What was your favorite answer? And who should I interview next? I got some cool ones kind of lined up on the docket, but who do you guys want to see? And what do you want me to ask? But for now, thank you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe to all of our social medias, and you guys have a good one from us here at Penchetta.